$2 million. And how are we beating the incumbent? I'll kind of tell you lightly that it's by working hard.
What are you supporting for governor?
I will tell you privately, not in front of the cameras, I apologize. Because I don't want it publicly blasted. But I will tell you privately. If you want to ask me who I'm supporting for governor as you leave, I will tell you privately. I choose not to tell Gary Peters or the rest of the world. I hope you don't mind, ma'am. Sir, I'm going to take this question and then we'll come back to you, if that's all right. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got a question. There's a lot of talk about generating an international police force sponsored pretty much by the whole world, where there will be as many as 10, 15 countries worldwide that will be nominated into this police force, and whenever an altercation breaks out anywhere in the world, the UN police force will go in and make sure it doesn't get out of hand. Have you heard anything about that?
The only thing that I know about, well, there's two. There's UN Act 21, and then there's the most recent information that you've probably heard about on the Interpol and the resolution that Ronald Reagan put in on Interpol acting or national police force, international police forces working on U.S. soil. Ronald Reagan had an executive order on that. Recently, this administration stripped that executive order and allowed them to have more authority on the United States soil. I am thoroughly against, that's the only two that I know of, and I'm thoroughly against having any international power have any type of international power on our sovereignty. I'm thoroughly against it. I've worked with UN people, and let me tell you, they're not very friendly to the United States. They love the U.S. dollars. They love our dollars. And Gary, you send a lot of them to them. You're sending too many dollars to people that really don't like us, and that's not how you win friends or influence people. That's how you may do it in sororities and fraternities and colleges, but you don't do that as you grow older. So I'm thoroughly against that. I do not believe that we should be spending the amount of money that we do to the United Nations, and I'm thoroughly against allowing any international police force to have any type of sovereignty on the United States soil. You do have protection for your world leaders. Like, for example, President Obama goes to Moscow, the Secret Service goes with him, and they have obviously weapons, and they have protection for the world leader, and they have certain immunity. But to have governmental immunity for international police forces operating sovereignly in the United States, I'm thoroughly against it. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But I think that is being brought about in regards of possibly eliminating the Second Amendment. I mean, let's take all the guns away from America, and then we got a free world to operate in.
Well, as you know, the United Nations has passed many resolutions. I mean, great world leaders like Sudan, Syria, Iran, North Korea, and Libya that are on different agencies of the UN that we spend money on, that basically tell us how we should live our lives.
Oh, yeah.
We are just as hypocritical as a lot of these countries are. We are. Most recently, I believe we are very hypocritital, and Gary, I wish you'd join me in standing up against this administration. We are very hypocritical on our stance on Israel. We can go into Afghanistan, we can go into Iraq, but when Israel's threatened, Gary, you won't stand up against your president and tell them that they're wrong. When you have a national security advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, that says some of the things that he said, or about the United States being told that they should shoot down Israeli planes if they attack Iran, I think that's absurd. But yet, we get involved in those fights, but yet nobody's allowed to question the United States when we go into Afghanistan or Iraq. So I think we're a little hypocritical as a nation. Yes, sir. Sorry.
With regard to the earlier discussion on term limits, obviously it didn't take Gary Peters long to work the system, so
no.
I'm sure that anybody can do it. But since
Gary,
I truly believe that we're on a cusp that is going to bring a lot of cream to the crop as far as leadership in this country.
Yes, sir.
And whereas I think spending is the most important issue, I really think leadership is really a key striking point right now.
Yeah.
How will you, as an elected leader, a newly elected leader, impart those principles to other future leaders and start to develop some leadership in this country?
I've got to credit my parents. I love my mom and dad, and I miss my dad. My dad My dad said, before he passed away, and we didn't know he was gonna die, he died of an aneurysm, so nobody expected it. He used to tell me that you're gonna hear my voice more when I pass on than when I was alive. And yeah, that is a good conscience, yeah, and I hear my dad on a daily basis. And boy, I'm happy I had the father that I had, and that he went through the life experiences that he had. I think more children need to be raised in a family that teaches them individual responsibility. I'm starting from the bottom of the crux of the problem first. Individual responsibility, community involvement and charity comes from the individual, not the government, and again, personal responsibility. So my parents taught me that really, really well. But when I get there, here's what I believe. I believe instead of being pressured by Nancy Pelosi or Leader Boehner, I should be pressured by you and by the Constitution of the United States.
And by yourself.
Well, of course, my So here's what I believe. As a legislator, if it's unconstitutional, you don't vote for it. It doesn't matter if your party leadership is telling you to vote for it. Gary, did you hear that? It's unconstitutional. You don't vote for it. Number two, if it's a core value, your core value, that's your own conscience and your own core value that you campaign on. If it's a core value, you don't vote for it. You don't vote for it. And number three, if you're not representing your constituents, you don't vote for it. And that's why